cannot exceed $7,000. But you're suing your daughter over the ashes, and the ashes, from what I understand, are of your father.
See, then that's when I say it gets tricky. Like I was just saying earlier, when if it was just like the ashes of a stepdad that it wasn't her father, I understand. But when it's her dad, then it kind of makes an understanding reason why. Uh, and it's sad that this has to happen because what happened after dad passed away? Like, did y'all stop getting along? Like, why y'all fighting over this? Like, why can't y'all come to an agreement that one person have it and or even maybe even take turns sharing it? I don't know. I mean, just something that you guys can reconcile this moment because this is a crazy moment, a crazy step. And oh my God.
Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And those are the ashes right there. You
Yes, Your
brought them
Honor.
here.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Murphy, I'm going to start with you. Tell me the story.
Your Honor, I'm very perturbed about being here today. This is not a position that I would choose to be in.
Of course.
My stepdaughter, or as I call her, my bonus daughter, we have always had a wonderful relationship, and I can't imagine how we got to this point.
Okay.
And my son Dwayne has talked to me about it. We've discussed it. And in the process, I want my husband's ashes. I want them. He belongs with me. We were married for 39 years. 39 years. And sure, we had our ups and our downs, but it was truly a match made in heaven.
And the reason why I say that it was because when my dad passed away, rest in peace. My dad was they cremated my dad, and they gave me my and both of my sisters chains with his ashes in it. So that's what I'm saying. Why couldn't they come to agreement? Maybe she has half and she has half. That way they feel like they both have something to hold on to. They don't have to fight over this. This is just, to me, this is just ridiculous. And then it's going to like break their relationship up. This is going to make y'all not even want to mess with each other after this, after going through all of this. Oh, man.
And when all of this back and forth stuff started, I wanted to talk with my bonus daughter about having it my way. But Charles came
You
to me.
acknowledge that you were saying, I want things done a certain way.
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
Charles came to me in a dream. And in this dream, he said, let it go. Let it go.
And the crazy part about it is like one thing that probably can make her feel some way is that she keep acknowledging this other daughter as her bonus daughter and not as her daughter, which might make her feel some type of way because she feels like she doesn't accept her as, you know, like she's one of her own. She accepts her as she's one of her dad's kids.
And so I'm prepared to let it go as long
And yes, it's a difference. It's a big difference.
as I walk out of here with him in my arm, in his urn.
Talk to me, Miss Rose Catherine. What's going on?
My stepmother is suing me for the ashes of my father. Now, me and my father had a strained relationship, but before he died,
Why was it estranged?
he married her, and he started being more there, I would say, for my stepbrother. I want to just say for them because, they're my stepbrothers, but I feel like he gave them more love and attention. But I will say, before my father died, we have been working on our relationship. And I love
What caused that process to begin?
I want to say when my mother died. My mother also passed away. So when my mother died, I feel like it kind of rekindled our relationship, even though he's married again and, with other children. Before my daddy left, me and my sisters, our bondage with our father grew. Our love was stronger than ever. And I feel like that's why me and my sister deserve to take our father's ashes.
But that's just that. I understand what she's saying, but it's to a point where it's like You guys can split the ashes. Like you guys can split the ashes in three. She can have some, and you and your sister can have ashes. You guys can all have some that represents your dad. You don't guys don't have to do this because you guys gotta look at it as this. You guys are the only thing left of him. So it's best that you guys make something happen. Because at the end of the day, you just said that you lost your mother and you said that you lost your dad. So why strain the relationship on somebody who can be a potential mother figure to you? She's still living. But hey, I just feel like, sometimes the fight is not worth it.
Okay. And what was the understanding? Because we have here Ms. Pines, and you, I believe, represent the mortuary,
Correct, Your Honor.
all right? How did you find yourself in the middle of this?
We had a legally binding contract with Ms. Rose. We provided the services, and
When
we
you
are
say
not
you had a
responsible.
legally binding contract with Rose Catherine,
Correct.
you, Rose Catherine, ended up making all the funeral arrangements?
So yes, me and my sisters, we took care of the repast. We took care of the flowers, which we designed ourselves. Everything for the funeral. Some
What
personal
about the
issues.
program and
Yes, the program. So what I was supposed to pay the money. Some personal issues came about, and the check bounced.
Coming up on America's Court.
I should have looked at it that way. Maybe because I was just so hurt. I missed
Stop.
all that time with my
Stop.
father.
That's what it is. We're dealing with the fact that you were hurt.
And that's the issue. But it's like pain can drive a person to do some crazy things. And then that's why I said seek therapy, because we don't realize a lot of times the mental strain that pain can put on us. Like mentally it's straining, and it's so straining to the point that sometimes you might just release anger on somebody else that has nothing to do with it. So at a point you do got to think deep within, like, how bad is this affecting me? Is this affecting me to the point that I cannot live my everyday life? And if it is, then you need it, bro, because this is right here this is what I would call a crash out moment. Two family members suing each other over something they can hash out.
And hurt people hurt people.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want
That's
to bring your
facts.
case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program. America's Court is back with the case of Georgia Murphy, who is suing Rose Catherine Murphy and Connie Pines for breach of contract.
Mrs. Murphy, you have your son here.
I do.
What is the purpose for him being here?
Because he has been a witness to all of this back and forth stuff
Okay.
from the beginning.
Sir, coming up. And your last name is?
Gross.
All right, so Mr. Gross, tell me from your vantage point what's going on here.
Judge, what's going on here is it's just a bunch of nonsense. My evil stepsister is just messy.
See, and then that's the whole point. They're not, and that's the issue that family, that we got to do. Like, as family, we got to stop acknowledging each other as like, if you my family, you my family. Why am I gonna, nigga, we don't acknowledge our homies as half homies. Oh, my evil half homie. We don't do that. We be like, that's the homie. So why are we gonna like denounce, like, oh yeah, you my sister, but only half? Like, no, that's your sister, my boy.
She's just messy. She's
And like and the whole point is nobody's like, they're both not seeing it from each other's side, because she's not seeing it from their side, but they're not seeing it from her side. Like, she's actually in pain, and the reason why was because you heard her. She's been as strained, the relationship with her dad's been as strained, and she finally fixed it. So now she feels like this is the only thing that she got left of her dad. Same thing, and I understand that, because that's one of the things I went through. Like, Me and my dad was at strain. Like, we didn't have the best of relationship. And then right before he passed, me and him, rekindled our relationship. In fact, I was supposed to go see him, the beginning of the year, this year. No, I think no, the beginning of the year last year before he passed, and he passed away. So it was a tragic moment, man. So yeah.
Going for retribution. She's upset, and she's only telling half truths.
All right, what's the other half?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I'm sorry to cut you there, but he's trifling. You want to know what trifling is? Right after I went and got my father's ashes, I had to go to my high school reunion. Even though I was still mourning my father's loss, dealing with all this stuff, do you know he served me papers at my high school reunion?
I sure
How
did.
embarrassing, humiliating that is. People that I went to high school with, they knew that this is my stepbrother, my dad and mom.
And that's the feud. And the feud is not, the feud is deep. It seems like the stepmom don't like their family, and their family don't like the stepmom family, and that's how it is. It has nothing to do with the ashes. It has something to do with each side of the family don't like each other, and you can hear the way they're talking at each other in anger. Like this fight is bigger than these ashes. I guarantee you it.
Divorcing, you got with him, and he served me
Because she
after
ran
my
off
father
with the
just died.
urn.
So
Let me
talk about
use
petty-
my chat.
Just-
petty
All right. All right, chat. We back. Let's get back into it.
We had an understanding with the Pine Mortuary that my mother and I were going to come by later in the evening and pick up the urn.
And why was that if Rose Catherine did all the planning and made all the arrangements and entered into the contractual agreement?
Well, what happened was they notified my mother that her check had bounced, and they said they couldn't proceed with the funeral unless payment was rendered. So my mom stood up and she paid for everything, over $10,000.
Okay.
We discussed that my mom was going to wear white and sit in the front row.
See, that's crazy. That's crazy. And sis, you're wrong for that. If moms paid all the money, you could at least been like, all right, I can give you half of the ashes. But to be cold cut turkey and be like, you paid for all this and you still not getting no ashes, it's crazy.
It came to the day, she sat in the front row and she wore white, while me and my mom had to sit in the back row.
I did.
She had her sisters up there with
I
her.
did.
That's crazy. That's evil. That's evil. Like, one thing you could have did, and the reason that's why she's looking at you like that. She's not looking at you like she's looking at you because she's like, you're bold for saying this. Like, this is pure crazy. So you telling me she paid all the money and you couldn't reconcile anything and come to her and be like, hey, listen, how about we both wear white? All right, since you paid the money, I'll let you wear white and I'll wear a different color, but I still want to sit in the front. At least allow that to happen. It's just like, this is crazy. This is why I said reconcile this stuff before this come to court, because this is just an issue that's not even about the ashes. It's about an issue of each side of the family not messing with each other.
Disrespectful to my mom.
Very.
So I'm not going to let her get on a plane and shoot back to Florida with her urns without us having to say so. I really do
Well,
believe.
what was the understanding regarding the urn, Miss Pines? What were you told?
Well, per the contract that was signed, we released the urns to Rose as she was the one who signed the contract with us.
She was in breach of the contract when the check didn't clear. So now you've got a contractual relationship with a new party, being Mrs. Murphy, correct?
Not necessarily
I signed
to
all the
my
paperwork, Your Honor.
knowledge, because we had a contract with Miss Rose. If Georgia decided to make the payment on her behalf, that was an agreement between the two of them. We are not involved. We're not responsible.
Okay, so Ms. Murphy, what was the agreement?
Because we went to that particular mortuary, because so many of my family members had been taken care of by.
You know what they should have did? This is another part where it's their fault. And like, this is some of this is their fault too, because they didn't take the precautions and did the paperwork on their own behalf and filled out all that stuff on their own behalf and paid for it on their own behalf. So that way they can be like, well, since your check bounced and you couldn't do it, we're going to do it. I mean, I know it's kind of sleazy, but this is the issue. They're playing one person trying to get over on one another when I believe totally they could have hashed this out for the sake of their dad and her husband and be like, listen, how about you have half and how about I'll have half? I have half for me and my sisters and you have half for you and your family. And I believe that could be a totally fair thing. I don't believe that one person should just have that whole thing. And that's crazy. So now they're in court and she's getting sued over something that can be hashed out.
That mortuary, and we were very pleased with their services. And so the indication was that we would work together. But then when my bonus daughter decided to behave as she did, she left me off the program.
You mean like the obituary?
Yes.
She totally removed.
Your
her
name
from-
wasn't listed
was not
in the
it.
obituary?
She had a small picture in the collage.
I added her
on
in the collage.
obituary.
Her picture was in there.
Wait, didn't you say you were married for 39 years?
39 years, Your Honor.
correct.
And
I'm-
she's not listed in the obituary, and she was married to your dad for almost 40
for
years?
one,
Judge,
Georgia-
that's just part of the trifling.
Well, no, I'm a little amazed that someone would be left off who had that long of a relationship with the deceased.
She was not communicating with me. At one point, she wanted things her way. And
You already said that. Why would you leave her out of the obituary as if she never existed?
It's because of family feud. That's the deeper issue. The deeper issue, the reason why they left her off is they ain't gonna say it, is because her and her sister and them don't mess with their family. And I know how that issue is because I've been through it. I've been through it where one side of the family don't mess with another side of the family. So when this feud type of happen, they're like, no, we don't mess with y'all. This is the issue that is they're going through right now.
I didn't.
No,
See,
I'm
straight
asking-
through
I'm
it.
asking, Rose Gap,
I didn't leave her out intentionally.
whose decision was it to write the obituary and print it?
It was mine.
Okay, so you obviously proofread it, and you didn't stop and go, oh, my stepmother is not listed here. Let me add her.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I mean, I could even see if they weren't married and saying, well, they weren't married, so we're not going to include her.
But I'm his daughter. I mean, you can get a husband or wife and they can leave you whenever they want, but I'm his daughter.
But she didn't leave him. She stayed with them until the end. Is that correct?
That is correct,
That's
sir.
correct.
That is
So
correct.
she didn't leave him.
That's
You're right.
crazy.
You know what it is? She has a resentment against my mom, like it's my mom's fault. It's not, Judge. She's upset that her mother strayed away in their relationship.
See, I told you. It's not even and see, sir, you're lying though, but because you're going to try to blame this on her. No, what it is your mom and you guys don't mess with her mom and their family. Their family don't mess with you guys. That's the issue. It has nothing to do with that. The reason why their family's been that strained is because they feel like their dad's been over there playing dad to you guys' family and saying F them. That's the issue. And I'm telling you what it is, bro.
And had an extramarital affair, and she's upset at that. She's upset that my father, her father, raised me and my brother since we were 13, and he spent the quality time with us and not with them. She's using it for retribution.
But that's crazy though. That's crazy though. See, then that's one of the issues too. As a man, that is crazy. Because if that, like she said that her father's been raising, and so obviously he's not like, I mean, he's in the talking, but he's really not in the talking. Like the only person who could really talk is her, because that's not his biological dad. That's his stepdad. And I understand that he did raise him, but that's her biological. That's not his.
That's exactly what she is.
My mother wasn't a dog. She didn't stray away.
If he stayed with the same woman after your mom for 39 years and still wanted to have a relationship with you, and he was like a dad to this gentleman, that says a lot about who your father was.
Amen.
I should have looked at it that way.
I mean, yeah, but then like Judge, what you're missing the whole point though. You're missing the whole point that dad wasn't in their life, and that's the issue. That's why she's fighting. Dad wasn't in their life. Dad was playing dad to their family, and he wasn't playing dad to them. And that's why she feels some type of way because the only time she got dad to actually play dad to her was right before he died. That is the issue that they're having.
Maybe because I was just so hurt. I missed
Stop.
all that time with my
Stop.
father.
That's what it is. We're dealing with the fact that you were hurt, and hurt people hurt people.
That
I
is true.
understand that, sir. And
But they're both hurt, and this is why she's looking at it like that because she feels like the judge is only going at one side of
you're
the family. And it is. Hurt people do hurt people, but they're both hurt. It's not her, it's their both side of the family is hurting. Their side of the family is hurting, and she's hurting. She's gonna admit her pain because she's in so much pain that you can't even doubt it. Like, she's in so much pain, you can't even look at her and be like, you're not in pain because you can see it. But but the other woman on the other half, she ain't gonna admit that shit. They ain't gonna admit that shit.
100% right.
Coming up on America's Court.
Was that your policy that you were not going to be, your mortuary was not going to proceed unless somebody had a check that cleared?
Correct. Yes.
This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy-nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program. America's Court is back with the case of Georgia Murphy, who is suing Rose Catherine Murphy and Connie
I'm not a
Grimes
judge,
for
so I'm
breach
just
of
giving my
contract.
opinion.
When was it when the check bounced? Had it been a few days prior?
The
Was
day of the funeral.
Okay, there's no funeral if the check bounces because most mortuaries, they're like, we got to get our money before we proceed. Otherwise, everything stops right here. So if she hadn't written the check, what would have happened?
Probably want to have the funeral, sir. I have to figure out. I have personal issues going on that nobody knows about. So
Well, Ms. Pines, I can speak on my own experience, but was that your policy that you were not going to, your mortuary was not going to proceed unless somebody had a check that cleared?
Correct. Yes.
Who made the decision to have him cremated?
Cremated.
Did you make that
Well,
decision?
that decision was made when we spoke together that he would be cremated. And when it appeared that her check had bounced and that the whole thing was going to have to stop right then and there, it touched me in such a way that I can't describe. But I wanted everything to go along as we had planned. And then when her check bounced, and I had my son get my purse, took out my checkbook and wrote a check. I have a receipt. I have a copy here that I can show you.
So the monies that we're talking about, I'm still not quite clear.
there was never agreement about the money. She just paid. That was her husband.
If she didn't
there
pay,
was
there would've been no
there was
funeral,
no
Judge.
agreement. She just did that because that's what
Because
a wife
there
is
would be
supposed
no
to do.
funeral
There
on
was
that
no
day.
funeral, but there was no agreement about anybody paying anything back.
Why do you think, Mrs. Murphy, that you're entitled then to the ashes?
Because he was my husband. He was my life.
Coming up on America's Court.
How is it that the mortuary is a part of the lawsuit if the agreement was with Rose Catherine?
Because they gave us a false impression that one, we would be able to meet them at a specific time at the mortuary and pick up the urn.
This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy-nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program.
See, this is where it gets messy. And I like this is where it gets messy. And this is why it's like, man, you got to be on your shit because it's about to get messy, y'all.
America's Court is back with the case of Georgia.
But one thing that I'm gonna say that what they messed up at was they didn't have an agreement with the daughter to say, okay, if I pay this $10,000, we're sharing half of the earned, we're sharing half of his Ashes are, I'm like, if I'm paying for it, I get to keep the ashes. They should have made that statement, have it written down, have it signed off, so that way she has a written agreement in some form. Because now that she doesn't have the written agreement, and now that she's not, she didn't make that statement that she wanted the urns until after she paid, it makes her look kind of bad, bro. It makes her look like she's nitpicking.
Murphy, who is suing Rose.
And the reason why I say that is because I know some people that literally will do things out the kindness of their heart. And then I know some people who will do things, but then want something back in return from it, which is, ridiculous.
Catherine Murphy and Connie Pines for breach of contract.
Was there a conversation with anybody about who's going to get those ashes? Because up until this point, did you pay for the cremation as well?
So the initial thing was Miss Georgia wanted a closed casket. We wanted an open casket, so we did come to some type of agreement. We decided to have a viewing, and then for the funeral, the casket would be closed. But like I said, things changed, and we had them cremated, and so I kept my daddy's ashes. It's not like I can go to the grave every year and see my dad.
And that also applies to her husband of 39 years.
My husband.
I'm just trying to understand, how is it that the mortuary is a part of the lawsuit if the agreement
What's
was
good?
with
What's good?
Catherine?
More
Because they gave us
blessings.
a false impression that one, we would be able to meet them at a specific time at the mortuary and pick up the urn. So that
Who gave you that impression?
Miss Pines did.
Is that true?
We got there at 2, and my stepsister, who I don't consider a bonus, got there at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you have
Wait,
to.
I'm asking Mrs. Pines, or Miss Pines. Did you tell them that they would be entitled to get the ashes because they paid?
I did not, but yes, someone on my staff did upon looking at my receipts.
Okay. And ultimately, why didn't they get the property then? Is that because you're saying that she came earlier?
They came early.
You
That's
all was
exactly.
expecting to come at a certain time and have the
Yes,
ashes,
later
and
at
then
2
they
o'clock,
didn't.
And she got there at 10.
At 10. She came 10
So
in
you
the
guys still
morning.
come at 2 o'clock and
And
the
no
ash,
ashes.
and they're already
That's
gone.
good. That's good, bro. That's good. That's
Judge
good.
Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. This is America's Court with
I think what's gonna happen is the daughter's most likely gonna have to fork over the ashes because the wife, she paid, and it's morally wrong, to leave her out, and like the daughter, she already has shit. Like it's just a nasty family feud. That's all it is. It's a nasty family feud that should have been in house, and they could have figured this out. Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up, man.
Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program.
If there was an agreement that the mortuary made, the mortuary is in breach. If you made an oral promise to the party that paid, then that was a contract, and the written portion of that contract was the check itself. That then becomes the written agreement. The question is, as it relates to Rose Catherine, you're not going to get those ashes back. The breach was not with Rose Catherine, the breach was with the mortuary. And they're no longer in possession of the item, so they can't legally turn it over to you. Only the person who's in possession, and that would be your bonus daughter.
Thank you.
I'm going to award you $2,500, ma'am, because the fact of the matter is this was your husband, and you were somewhat involved, but I think it makes a statement to the mortuary that they can't handle business like this with people's lives. That's not going to fly up in here. Judgment in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That is the order. Case closed.
That's crazy. So at the end of the day, the person who got hurt by this was the company who gave out the ashes. And that's why at the end of the day, it's best not to get into a family feud, because the lady who gave out the ashes seemed like she was sold, and she was totally, on the side of the person she gave the ashes out to. But I think that she was only on her side was because she figured out she was getting sued, and she wanted to make her statement along with theirs so it could be clearly. But She was in the wrong. She took the money and gave the ashes to the wrong person. And now she got to hope that she can get those ashes back, which she's not getting those ashes back because the girl already said that that's for her dad. She's not giving them. So it's a wrap, man.